Initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious. True Ali is happy when Moors are happy. Vixens wink fake lashes trying to trap me. 40 days and nights battling the lower demons. This is not their land, hybrids can't be freemen. If this is not their land, who's the immigrant thinking they're sovereign? Imagination figment, recessive is their status, lacking pigment. A game for the Thanksgiving, but no commitment to indigenous Moors they conquered with Bibles. Signs in the vitals and signs in the cycles, only to strangle, embracing my rivals. Free national standards, not playing with the tribals. Each Moor is their own Christ, not disciples. Whether hands or thoughts, no worshiping idols. Always carry my Moorish Quran, no recitals. Everyone will not process ancients' arrivals. Initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious.
Innate mystic ability to show and prove a lesson, coupled with the agility to move you with the message, presence of divine mind to navigate you with a reference, urgent with a purpose, perfect. Emerging urban legends, real more is not a question or a choice or a preference. You are who you are, you should have the same obsession. Broke the same jewels to a dude, the corner, Jane and Western. What you reppin', all that effort, that direction, keep you separate in a world of blind sheep. I was born to be a shepherd, mind like an elephant. Got the paws of a leopard, means I'm wise and I'm strong. Crank you up like I'm a record, take you to the body shop, correct your lines to true vector manifestations. Matter, energy, and mind, spirit men unsung. Trey Young dropping dimes until you tighten up, you catching splinters from the pine. Clean the clouds out your thoughts, that's what keep you in the bind.
Initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious initiates of the sacred brotherhood of elite MCs. Raw mysterious.
We got rituals for damn near anything you want to do, and we can give them to you tonight.
Chris V. Still get it from the intellect reservoir. Cosmic surfing, these two sons of God didn't come from virgins. Ether makes up these gods. We rode light angles to the earth plane. Again trapped in skin, but a different name. Monads, been here since Ruth and Moabs. Thought you killed me when Drew and Marcus got toe tagged. That's why I'm here with the Grand Chairman of Fear. Truth make you think critical like Sabir. Doing the God things, I make ancients appear. And all I'm hearing is knocking while I'm watching a seer. Ancient rituals and sound healing notes through Pro Tools. Eye to eye transfers knowledge, you need no schools. Waking up the masses, music is class's stage. Most fail cause they look like the flying shades. Following demons possess Kanye's and Lil Wayne's. Expecting a hippie with a cross and a Greek name. In a melanin cause need D&B to link up with no cheese. Orisha's in me, I'm not what you don't see. I'm not one of those armchair revolutionaries. Allah's in me, sick and tired of being sick and tired. But that's just where we get our strength, man. The Christ is in me. I'm not a hustler, pimp, gangster, wankster, but trust me, they all in me.
I got it when the moon shifted the tomb in the melanated womb. Sipping milk in the honey, doing triple black boom. touchdown. Traveling on planet Earth where we crush clowns. While I'm managing this curse and preparing the elixir that turns copycats into kitty litter. These poor pussies pretending to be misters. I cannot sin, but I can be very sinister. My limitations are limited as I do a lap around the galaxy. Had to gather light and rally back and fuck the fallacy. And cause of that, I got labeled the antagonist. And it didn't help that I cuss and bun cannabis and bun candles and wear symbols of Orishas. And I put a hex on the heads of 7 preachers with 1 trailer spit aimed at the pulpit. Crush the crucifix, a whole tabernacle backflip. I'm not Catholic, but if I choose my bare resonance, you may just catch a glimpse of Lucifer's semblance. Up and down Jacob's ladder with my melanin, the vessel of no fear none. You can find the devil in.
God's in me, I say that so serious. Turn a nigga to a god, show you I'm serious. Got him proclaiming, name changing and facing with no guilt or fear. All these clansmen masons, we stand on squares, circumscribe our own circumference. Goddess Lakshmi bless me with abundance of prosperity. I speak with clarity, not to confuse. Put Moorish in front everything from Christian to Jews. I'm the anchor, so I don't listen to news on some snail type vibrations making me snooze. Calling a Parker to call down our UFO crews. Like Yahweh or Dogon shamans, we call on Ra Amen. For sun ritual, spiritual, I'm physically trapped. Rewind playback and get your pineal tap like Gregory Hines when I'm spitting the rhymes. A&Rs want me to blow, but all rights reserved when we sign. In a melanin calls me D&B, the link up with no cheese. Orisha's in me, I'm not what you don't see. I'm not one of those armchair revolutionaries. Allah's in me, sick and tired of being sick and tired, but that's just where we get our strength, man. The Christ is in me. I'm not a hustler, pimp, gangster, wankster, but trust me, they all in me.
Alright, so let's pour the libations on the Gumu, Olensu, Shumala, Otija, Chiaja, Jehovah, Alcala, Locayo, Capamo, Lalila. I need some halal shades. Isa, Manu, Noku, Mana, Imatu, Tripi, Juba, Jova, Eglati, Yasimbo, Nizala, Isala, Azilu, Tazuzu, Zuba, Numeresh, Alonia, Ayo, Everett, Rangan, Notoyo, Olu, Netu, Nutu, Yohana,
First pyramid war was the machinations of Seth, who coveted the powers and territories allotted to Osiris, including the fertile lands of Lower Egypt and the monumental Giza pyramids. This conflict wasn't merely about territorial control, but also about influencing the space activities and the celestial comings and goings of the gods.
It's the return of a new high priest, Drew Aliyite, a death chamber Morpheus, y'all some neophytes, red dress Tyrese distracts you, focus is lost, open your mental prisons, free your thoughts, music is magic's highest level and form, word man and sheep flow like torrential rainstorms, potential infinite, far from hypocrites, experience is the product, when we deliver it, rapping like a parcel, part never partial, watch for the patriarchal laws that's martial, distracted again you fell for sparkles and twinkles, brainwash all over your minds with commercial jingles, mind force field, y'all think it's lyrics, it's metaphysics, civics, ancestral spirits, not base specific, scientific, seeing spirituality is not acrylic.
Yo, this chronic smoking of microphones and opponents doesn't have me choking, got my lungs wide open, mind's eye spoken, broken encoded slogans interwoven with loaded meaning, best known to mend and remedy broken treaties, time and time again like the dial of Archimedes, hearts beating to the sound of her drum, seeking to be one with the law's algorithm.
First pyramid war was the machinations of Seth, who coveted the powers and territories allotted to Osiris, including the fertile lands of Lower Egypt and the monumental Giza pyramids. This conflict wasn't merely about territorial control, but also about influencing the space activities and the celestial comings and goings of the gods.
It's the return of a new high priest. True Aliyhites, a death chamber Morpheus. Y'all some neophytes. Red dress Tyrese distracts you. Focus is lost. Open your mental prisons. Free your thoughts. Music is magic's highest level in form. Word man and sheep flow like torrential rainstorms. Potential infinite, far from hypocrites. Experience is the product when we deliver it. Rapping like a parcel, part never partial. Watch for the patriarchal laws that's martial. Distracted again, you fell for sparkles and twinkles. Brainwash all over your minds with commercial jingles. Mind force field, y'all think it's lyrics. It's metaphysics, civics, ancestral spirits. Not vague, specific, scientific. Seeing spirituality is not acrylic.
Yo, this chronic smoking of microphones and opponents doesn't have me choking. Got my lungs wide open, mind's eye spoken, broken encoded slogans interwoven with loaded meaning. Best known to mend and remedy broken treaties. Time and time again, like the dial of Archimedes. Hearts beating to the sound of her drum, seeking to be one with the law's algorithms. Found out no need to kowtow or submit. Better we be harmonious than subservient. Worship and adulation by all means seem to be traits of a mortal, egotistical being, yet the creator craves not any of these things, not no mystery god, dark of facade, putting us at odds to be separate and apart, cause the closest place to meet my laws in the heart, in the heart, in the heart, in the heart, in the heart.
Avenger of Osiris, led the charge against Seth, backed by the technological marvel of the winged disc, crafted by Thoth. The war culminated in Horus's victory, relegating Seth to the fringes of the Egyptian pantheon and securing the divine and earthly realms under Horus's dominion. The aftermath of the First Pyramid War set the stage for the Second Pyramid War, fueled by unresolved disputes and the illegal occupation of strategic territories by the descendants of the Hamitic Canaan. This war was not just a rehash of previous conflicts, but a sophisticated engagement involving advanced weaponry and strategies, showcasing the gods' prowess and their manipulation of natural and technological resources. Ninurta.
Northgate, H2O flow, Sheep, Canaanland, Moor, Release Fall, Shalon Davis, salute, Hot House, check it. They say they wanna learn, they only debate, referencing the truth, trust me, they only sound the great. Study nationality before you question my estate. I'm not a minority, why you so late? Majority rules, here comes the test. Fact, that's my hand in the form of a V on the chest. That's a womb that is blessed like a moon and a crest. Major forever, infinite mindset. Major from birth, that's a seed in process. I'm a Moor, that is easy to digest. Competent, never tyrannous. That is my land, never faking. Secret traditions, petitions for what you're not Jamaican. Westmoreland to Portmore, everybody needs more. If you please more, following the apostle, we should read more. I see the unseen more, we more. That's a fact. Canaanland.
They say they want to learn, complain classes are too long. Don't want it on a phone call, energy too strong. Get it from the wrong source, now they way off course. Think they must be Muslim and give up on all sports. Should give up the red meat, must give up on all porks. Won't be yelling haram when the bottles are uncorked. Eating with the spoon, use forks for tuning. Eating humble pie, no ego ballooning. Samson 2 caterpillars, got him cocooning. As the full moon hung, spiral energy moving. Up through the crown chakra, energy shooting. And told me upload classes before live YouTubing. 16,000 subscribers, 20% consuming. 80% troll pretending to be tuned in. Comment on every video, pushing the thumbs down. We'll push the link when we live just like a clown. Exploring in the incompetence, always debating. Dissing True Ali, but won't give their location. His image on the black banner, that's placation. Just get him out of here, Yusuf yells in frustration. We know they're playing games, we're not berating. Calling 911, scimitars penetrating. In defense of prophets and mothers abused. And newly awakened Moors, amused and confused. This is what it feels like. 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 People running up to me that I don't know. Are you a prince? They ask, tell them I'm from Morocco. Look me up and down with a smile, not a frown. Turn their brain to water, watch the lower self drown. Wanna touch my antennas and steal my energy. Eyes bulge, telling them I'm always King Edward V. When it comes to facts, with Moors they get beggarly. They ask Morocco where? The farthest northwesterly. With every question asked, I respond cleverly. All dependents won't explain expertly. Going in their wallets, pull out pictures with feathers, breaking down the ring, then the mason confesses. He's at 33 degrees, now the combo stretches like yoga into esoteric metaphysic lessons. When my people aren't like me, he impresses. When we take more science to the highways and hedges. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
They tried to get you to think again. That's the prophet. I'm upright, don't need a friend. And you can't stop this. I'ma write with my pen. Violate me and I'ma send writs again. Remain cautious, cause often it's in the again. That's in the police out, just the silence men. When they bust through your door, you won't breathe again. Nationality will show you how to live again. It can change the predicament you're living in. You can heal the whole world without medicine.
This is what it feels like. 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 People running up to me that I don't know. Are you a prince? They ask, tell them I'm from Morocco. Look me up and down with a smile, not a frown. Turn their brain to water, watch the lower self drown. Wanna touch my antennas and steal my energy. Eyes bulge, telling them I'm always King Edward V. When it comes to facts, with Moors they get beggarly. They ask Morocco where? The farthest northwesterly. With every question asked, I respond cleverly. All dependents won't explain expertly. Going in their wallets, pull out pictures with feathers, breaking down the ring, then the mason confesses. He's at 33 degrees, now the combo stretches like yoga into esoteric metaphysic lessons. When my people aren't like me, he impresses. When we take more science to the highways and hedges. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
They tried to get you to think again. That's the prophet. I'm upright, don't need a friend. And you can't stop this. I'ma write with my pen. Violate me and I'ma send writs again. Remain cautious, cause often it's in again. That's in the police out, just the silence men. When they bust through your door, you won't breathe again. Nationality will show you how to live again. It can change the predicament you're living in. You can heal the whole world without medicine. Only truth can make you a better man. Why lie? Cause you got paid to murder men. Then you try to lock them up when they riot in. That's okay, cause for freedom I'm diving in. With no knowledge, you come back to die again. Resurrect me not, cause I'd rather be one with Allah.
This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
Black people get mad at white people for starting functioning white communities. So you know how happy we'd be to see black people start a functioning black community?
You know what's really weird is when white people try to get on this app and pretend that every time a successful black community has been started, white people didn't jump in and destroy it. Don't believe me? We have multiple examples. Let's start off with Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier looks beautiful, doesn't it? It was a wonderful black community until it got too successful. And then white people ran the black people out of their community, dammed up a river, and flooded their town. It's all right, though. Tons of white people lose their lives every single summer. I don't know why I find it so funny. I do. I find it hysterical. Dumbass white people enjoy their lives on this lake, and the souls of black people take their lives. But there's more. What about Greenwood?
No, before we go to Moor, Islam to all the Moors worldwide, honors to all the Moors, honors to Noble Drew Ali, Prophet of the Americas, sent to save these people, sent to them to save them. And they ignored him. They hear anything that he said. Pre-Noble Drew Ali and after Noble Drew Ali, there were Negro, black, colored people getting murdered by modern Europeans. This is just happening. This is just what happens. Interestingly, all these people that these atrocities and all that stuff coming to are people who say that they're a slave, people who say that they're Indian, people who say that they're black, people who say that they're colored, people who say they're Negro. This is the only people that this happening to. Find me how many times they bombed Chinatown or flooded Chinatown out for something. So they have their communities wherever anybody's at. They got a Chinatown there, right? Bet you they got a Chinatown there. All right. They didn't call it Yellowtown, did they? They're talking about Yellowtown and yellow rights. Yellow lives matter. None of it. Nothing. But I'm supposed to sit here and see these people that choose these fake names for themselves get violated continuously, and then I'm supposed to say I'm that? Yeah, right. You're right. Why am I going to be that for? If all that brings is death and destruction, why am I going there? If all that brings is death and destruction, why? Why am I taking the position of calling myself this fraudulent title, name? appellation, brand, whatever you want to, whatever BS games you want to play, the stuff that you call yourself. Remember, black and white are statuses. White status, they don't get murdered in the street and all that. They don't. White and black are statuses. The black status is on the bottom. The black status is on the bottom. They're in the level of the beasts of the field. That's just what it is. Don't get mad at Moors. There's nothing to do with Moors. That's what it is. Black and white are statuses. White status is on the top. Black status is on the bottom. Don't make it advanced. Don't get ahead of yourself.
You know, Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was incredibly successful. But then there was a claim that a black man hurt a white woman. Fucking white women. And so a whole bunch of white men came into the town and set it ablaze, killing over 300 people. It was an incredibly successful town. Until again, set ablaze by white people, because God forbid black people have a successful town.
Why? Why? Because this is if zombies start coming up talking about they want jobs and all that type of stuff, you're taking them serious? Send in the next person for the position, and a zombie comes in there, eye dangling, limping, talking about don't be alarmed, but I'm just looking for a job, because the zombie stuff, they don't even make zombie movies anymore. I need to get a job. You're taking them serious? You're taking them serious? So if you're not going to take them serious, why would you take some black whoever's, some slaves talking about, what's your name? Oh, I'm Johnson. I'm Jeffrey. I'm Frank and Lou. You can start your little community. Yeah, go. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you can do your thing. Dum. Oh, you're building up some more stuff there. Oh, yeah. Immediately they're gonna go to the black codes. Oh, let me see. The slave should not have a hammer. Oh, got him for that. The slave should not have a nail. Oh, got him for that. The slave should not have. You know what? Why don't we just get rid of this monstrosity of uselessness? Because the black is on the bottom. Doesn't matter what you have. Here's the proof. It doesn't matter what you have. Once you're in a dead status, i.e. black, Negro, colored, African, Indian, if you're in a dead status, then you're on the bottom. So if you're on the bottom, that's all you get. This is the mistreatments that Noble Drew Ali was telling these people about in the 1920s that they're going to get if they don't proclaim their nationality. And remember, pre-Noble Drew Ali, this was happening. Pre-Noble Drew Ali. People started doing something positive, doing something good. Oh no, don't shut that down. Why is this always happening to only these certain people? Remember, this is not happening to anybody else. That's what you have to really, right? This is not happening to anyone else. It's only happening to these people classified as Negro, black, colored, which really means dead status. Doesn't mean the stuff that they're calling themselves. It really means dead status based on the conditions. Because look, we got the stuff right here. You go get 100 years of lynchings. Go get delectable Negro. They're not lying. They murdered our people, ate them and all that stuff, keep stuff in jars and all that. That's information that's out there. It's readily available to anybody who reads. You're surprised these people drop a bomb on somebody when they eat you? Are you fried? What's wrong with your thinking capacity? These are some racist whites and all that type of stuff. Those are statuses. What do you mean racist whites? White means that they're on the top. I don't care how they look, whatever. Say they're white, they're on the top. That's it. Nah, you don't want to be on the top. You want to play bottom feeder. Why you being a bottom feeder? When you could say that you're white. Just having a nationality. No. They're not the white man. Because the white man is the devil, and then they start talking crazy. So be careful out there. They're using, Drew Ali told them, they're trying every scheme to get you to stay in your black BS. Try every scheme to get you. All right. If you have any questions, just put it in the chat. Go live today. And remember, you can't remain anonymous now. Right? So make sure your question is, because you can't be anonymous now. When you're playing yourself, we're at 90-something classes. We've been here. Honors to all the Moors in the chat. If you have any questions, don't be shy. Just send your questions in. Do our best to stay on point with this. How do you feel about the 13 colonies being the colonizers, yet Moors call themselves Americans? Well, Americans are not the colonizers, because we know that the 13 colonies are modern European. So the 13 colonies are modern European. When you look up the original definition of American, it's the dark-skinned people who were in the Americas before Europeans came here. That's who the Americans are. The actual Americans are the ones who were dark-skinned people that were in the Americas before Europeans came here. Those are the Americans. United States citizens aren't Americans. Europeans that came over here and formed 13 colonies, they're not Americans. And then because Noble Drew Ali said that we're not Negro, black, colored, when you check the definition, you're going to see that it's talking about the copper-colored natives. We're not colored. But we know what they mean. I mean, melanated people, dark-skinned people. They were the first ones. Let's go look at copper. Okay. What you should be thinking about is why did the 13 colony whoever's talk with the Sultan of Morocco before coming to America? Why are they talking to the Sultan? Oh, because 1492, when other modern Europeans and all that came here, they knew that they were in Morocco. Don't fall for that BS. They didn't know where they were going and all that stuff. How they don't know where they're going when they got Moors on the ship? Isn't that what they told you? Or Moors brought Columbus here and all that stuff. All right. So if Moors were on the ships, then they knew exactly where they were going. There wasn't some surprise. Oh, surprise. Well, there's people here. No, it wasn't none of that. None of that. How come these 13 colonies didn't talk to the Indians to set themselves up here? Why didn't they? Why isn't there these same 13 colonies that expanded to, how much ever quote unquote stars that they have on the flag and all that stuff today? You're playing around, playing the colonizing, the colonizer games. Because the 13, realize not just one, because it has to start with mother. That's how a nation starts, mother. So they said 13, because that's feminine. These people know exactly what they're doing. People know exactly what they're doing. And then we're caught up because the pressure that they put on the Negro, black, whoever is seeping on us. The garbage water is getting on us. Because we look like these people who they're saying that they're black and all that. Oh, so then you must be, no, we're not. We have nothing to do with them. They're their own people. Just like we know these 13 colony whoever's are their own people. And they're not from over here. So it's either they reserve themselves, like how they did the Indians or whatever. They reserve themselves to the 13 colonies, or they go back to where it is that they come from. Because that's the original arrangement. That's not, So we know that they're colonizers. We accept that. Moors don't, we don't shy away from the bad. We take the good and the bad. We already know that there's balance in this, so there's going to be a little bit of everything. Right. If you have any more, or if that's not enough, just keep asking till you get your answers. Right. Them calling themselves American is a fraud. The only Americans are the copper-toned natives who were here before the colonizer. That's who the American is. I don't care what they've been telling you the American is. I don't care what you might have heard somebody say something in America and they're talking about United States and they're talking about America and the actual definition for American. Once you're copper colored, that's a fraud. Because we can't be colored people. We can't be colored. Only things painted are colored. If somebody paint you, can't do it. So obviously they know that in order for them to have a claim, they have to tie themselves to the indigenous to have a claim. So this is why they say American. This is why they say United States citizens and American and all that. The Chinese, somewhere Chinese American, the African American, whatever American, because they have to use the indigenous to do whatever it is that they want to do. But they're not doing it for the indigenous. They're a foreigner. They're doing that for themselves, and leaving the indigenous out. Purposely leave the indigenous out. All the foreigners. Of course, yeah, there's some that do good and all that stuff, yes, but majority of foreigners, they're here to colonize. They're here for you to pay them $5,000 month rent. That's what they're here for. They're here to make sure your cost of living and everything else is through the roof for you, but everything's good for them. How they doing that? Some magic? No, they're saying they're the American, and then the true American sitting there talking about he's Negro, black, colored, NOI, and all that other BS. And you can't make the claim. You didn't learn from Dred Scott. You can't make the claim. You can't make the claim. Obviously, you didn't learn from Dred Scott. The status is the first issue. What's your status? The 13 colonies came from Europe and changed their name to USA. John Hanson's family were all from Europe like George Washington. This land is Morocco and was colonized by Americans. It can't be colonized by Americans because the Americans are the copper-toned people who were here before the Europeans. There were people here before the Europeans came here. Those people are us. We're the Americans. We can't colonize our own land. Only foreigners could do that. So the Europeans who you're talking about didn't change their name to USA. They didn't change their name. They're modern Europeans. They have a nationality. They have a nationality. We are the Americans. So my question is, how do you feel about identifying as a true American if that's who came from Europe? The land is Morocco for Moors. Okay, so how are you confused about American and Moors not being the same thing? Because Moors are indigenous people, right? They're indigenous people. Everybody knows who the Moors are. It's not some secret about who the Moors are. Everybody knows who the Moors are and what the Moors did for civilization. Everybody knows that they were the custodians of the ancient Kemetic knowledge and all that stuff. So everybody knows who the Moors are. We're talking about this landmass that's a continent. And then it's islands. And then it's an isthmus. And then it's a continent again. All that is America. A Brazilian is an American. A Chilean is an American. They're the copper-toned people, Moors, who were here before the European. That's like saying when people say the West And then you're talking about some Europeans. The West isn't Europe. Europe's not West. West where? How's Europe West? How's the colonizer the West? The West isn't modern European. The West is over here. But again, if they're saying that they're the West and then the West is really the Moroccan Empire, then they're going to claim the West. And then they're going to rule your ass with it. And then they're going to claim white and then rule your ass with that. And then when that doesn't work, then they're going to claim some other BS. And the cycle continues. Because you want to play games and not be serious. Drew Ali said we're Moorish American. You have L right there. That means you're Moorish American. What's the American on that mean? USA? The American after Moorish. That means USA? And if it means USA, is that USA? The 13 colonies? I don't think so. I don't think so. Why do you think Drew Ali made reference to the true American citizens? Because the fake ones. And the fake American citizens are the ones that are not calling themselves United Statesians like they're supposed to. If they're from the United States. If they're from the United States, then they're United Statesian. Yeah, this is not hard. You ever hear them call them United Statesian before? Never, right? Because it's BS. The state's not a nationality. That's a corpse. How's that a nationality? The state is a nationality. When Drew Ali made reference in the Moorish literature about a maxim, since America, hold on, get this up for these Moors. Since America started in the 1700s and was colonized by 13 colonies, how does decolonization come into play? America wasn't started in the 1700s. America is ancient. America is a maxim and Africa. AME, a maxim, RICA, Africa, America. That's over here. Africa's over here. A maxim is everything. America, AME, RICA. America. And there's two isthmus and islands that make it up. That's ancient. That didn't start in the 1700s. And the only reason that these 13 colonizers are over here is because they themselves were enslaved by the Moors. So they went to the Sultan because they wanted to get some land, because they wanted to get away from these Moors who were brutalizing them. Can we get some of your land somewhere? And that's how they got their 13 colonies. Right. The colonization comes into play after they get here. Because before that, they were in wars with the Moors. Before they came over here, they were in wars with the Moors. They were in wars with the Moors. Right. So if they're in war with the Moors and then they go somewhere else, colonization is a code word for war with the Moors. Because the same people that they saw over there, turbans and fezzes and all that stuff, is the same people that they saw over here. Pyramid culture, whether it's earth pyramids or whether it's stone pyramids. The half has not been told. So he gave us enough for us to go do our own research. And Moors have went and did our research. We went and did our research. And the research doesn't stop. Still researching still today. It doesn't stop. And then when you go deeper, the colonization is really of the mind. It has nothing to do with what them coming over here and all that stuff. That has nothing to do with anything. The real colonization is when we lost our mind. For them to have hold of it and then use us as some puppet. Which is how they got everything that they got. From somebody which is one of your own that sold you out. Your own selling you out. Got any more? Let's keep sending them. Anybody else has any questions, put it in the chat. Let's check this email. Noble Ali, Islam. Noble Ali said, "We are not Negro, black, or colored, but called us Moors. Aren't Moors African, which is the same as black?" That's going back again. That a continent is not your nationality. That's not your nationality. So you can't, you're talking about we're African and American and all that stuff. Those are figures of speech. That's not your identity. You know what I'm saying? We're American to its identity. That's why Drew Ali put Moorish on it. Right? Because it's the Moorish Empire. And everyone knows that. America is part of the Moorish Empire. So you can have a claim. You people above Mexico who don't have a nationality. And you've been calling yourself all types of BS. So he made reference to us as Moors, but our nationality is Moorish American. That way you're not going to get confused with the African and all that. Our nationality, that's Moorish American. We're known as Moors. We're known. And when you go talk to people, you're going to say Moors, they know exactly what you're talking about. Right? So it's pertaining to the Moors so that others have a reference point. And as soon as you start talking about Moors, people lose their shit when you start talking about Moors. How do you know and all that? Because the best kept secret. Knowing the truth about who we are. Knowing the truth about who we are. Yeah, we can know who we are, but do you know the truth about who we are? You have to know. Not knowing is an issue. Man. So Noble Drew Ali making it be known that we're not Negro, black, colored. Our nationality is Moorish American, and he made reference to us as Moors, so others know what we're talking about, because everyone knows the Moors reference point. And then you go to David McRitchie and Jay Rogers and all of them, and they're giving you all the different variations of Moors. So you're not confused that when you hear all these different things that you're talking about these same people, Moors. Islam. I'm teaching my relatives about Noble Drew Ali. What is a good lesson regarding the brand names? From the perspective of showing them that the brand names aren't where it's at. There's nicknamed is one, because nickname sort of speaks to, let's pull that up. Let's pull that one up. Now, if they really want to learn, they'll be with you right now as this is going down, right? So it's not you having to tell them. With because there's a lot of different places where you can go. There's a lot, especially in the Moorish literature. But I find, because this is what I used. One of them. Like trying to figure out how to get them. So with nicknamed, when the forefathers of the Moorish Americans were first brought to this nation, they had a nationality and a name. But in order to separate them from the achievements of their fathers, a name was given to them, which had no connection whatever with the founders of civilization. They were nicknamed Negroes. Today in this nation, There is no such things as Negroes in this sense that they are called. Just why so many of the intelligent Americans will continue to cling to this nickname is hard to understand. If you look in some dictionaries, you will see the word Negro means a sly person, a coon. If this is not an insult to the illustrious history of a nation, there can never be one given. Just as they have saddled on the Moorish Americans the name Negro, they have also given him a religion that was made to enslave him and stop his progress. It is the duty of every man who lives to redeem the name of his forefathers and not be herded into a mass of weaklings. Stop referring to yourself as Negro, colored, and black, for you are neither. You are men. American citizens, speak up for yourselves or it will never be done. As long as you wear the clothes of another, or live in the house of another, or dependent on another in any manner, you are truly a slave to them. If you would be free indeed, you must seek the truth. You must know the truth of your nationality and the name of your people. You must not be a coward and deny yourself the personal rights that belong to every man. And then if they're sincere, they're going to hear that and they're going to go get themselves corrected. Because obviously they've been in error using these brand names that to them, doesn't matter what we call ourselves. No, that makes you a weakling if you don't know who your foremothers and forefathers are. You don't know your foremothers and forefathers? Okay, then names of slaves will be saddled on you and you will be a ward to whoever. Just like they showed these people that the Hindu Karen stopping the brother from walking on the streets, the Hindu Karen. Right? And I bet you if you go check the Hindu Karen, her status is white. And the black guy talking about the racism and the black guys and these people are coming on a whole different status. Going back again to the brand names. White's a brand name too. But that's not a nationality. Just like black's not a nationality. You get caught up in the, call yourself white and all that stuff. That's still just a checkbox. That's not an identity. Has nothing to do with human beings. And then the other side of it is you being the Moor, so they can interact with it real time. Right? You being the Moor. And then that way they're going to approach you if they really want to know. If they really want to know, then they're going to approach you. Because you can, with the whole living by the principles and all that stuff, you're going to get caught up and think you could, put them on because they're receptive to what you're telling them and all that stuff. And 2 months go by, you don't hear from them. And then I even giving you some, and tell you some story. You just you're not hearing from. Instead of wasting the energy to ungrateful bastards, right? Instead of doing that, don't waste the energy. The ones who want to know, they'll check you. They'll say, "Yo, I was checking that stuff, man. Oh my gosh." And they're going to be just like you were when you found out about this. They're going to be just like you were. You're going to see it in their eyes. You're going to hear it in their voice. You're going to feel it in their energy. that they're really interested. You know, and I would take that side, you know, to answer the question. I wouldn't even worry about, you know, the relatives' perspective, because they're still on the come up. So they have to engage. You could only take them so far. And if they can't look down at themselves and see that they're brown, not black, you know, to you know, see the concept of that brand name, that you're basically lying on yourself. You're lying on yourself. That has to be something energetically. If you're lying on yourself, it has to be something that's messing up your energy. Jess, can you please explain how it is that we were already here, but we were also brought here? So let's go back. When the forefathers of the Moorish Americans were first brought to this nation, they had a nationality and a name. But in order to separate them from the achievements of their fathers, a name was given to them which had no connection whatever to the founders of civilization. So when he says the founders of civilization, he's talking about the forefathers, right? Now he knows that our people did a lot of good, and our people also did a lot of bad. And you have the sundry free Moors as an example of forefathers being brought over here. And then their defense is that, oh, we're not Negro. You can't put us under the Negro Acts. We're under the Sultan. I'm a prince. And then them getting to go back to the land of their forefathers. So there were some that were brought here to this nation, and then there are ones who were already here. And we know that from all the mounds and pyramids and all that stuff that's here. So it's not even nothing to argue. And we're here and there at the same time. Because it's all one. It's all one. And Durali said to unify, unite the temples. Unity. And that's exactly what he was doing on every aspect. Every aspect. Showing the oneness. So that we don't have the back and forth and the separation and the whatever. Why can't there just be oneness? What is the issue? Oh yeah, ego and emotions and all the other BS that people shouldn't even be on. Look, so if the Aztecs are practicing Islam, then what you still don't get it? No. So it doesn't matter if we connect ourselves with the ones already here versus the ones who were brought here. No, they're all Moors. It's not like they when they say they enslaved and they brought people here. It wasn't some in the bushes people. It was royalty and all that. Princes and all that is who they were kidnapping. If they're saying slave trade, right? They were taking the best of the best. Now, again, you're gonna ask questions. Well, how the best of the best get their ass kicked by these 5 people and get put in slavery and all that stuff? How they do that to the best of the best? So either something's wrong with the story. Put in slavery and all that stuff. How they do that to the either something's wrong with the story. Something wrong with the story, which means that when you find out the truth, then you're gonna have to cast the story away. Right? People lying, just saying whatever, and then people just going with whatever just because. But that's what I got from the brought here. That the ones who were brought here weren't some dumb nigger. So it is a huge problem among our people, just the fact that their remembrance only goes far back as slavery. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The Negro problem. The mindset that doesn't go back to the foremothers and forefathers, it stops at there's some slave ship or whatever. And then if they do go past that, they're going to skip over 800 years of Moorish history and go into some ancient Egypt, whatever. And then expect that move to be accepted when you have the rules of the game that, hey, you can't jump over history. If you're doing about history and they're talking about a timeline, you can't jump over stuff and say, oh yeah, we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to. You can't do that. Before slavery is Moorish history. You know that, right? You know, before history, before slavery is Moorish history for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. And these people are going to jump over the 100 of years to go and deal with some ancient Egyptian history, skip over Atlantis and all that. And like Ras Mariah said, if you think your history started on a slave ship, that's where it ended too. Exactly. If you really think it started in slavery, they're already done for. Already. And it's not like the idea, right, that you can't see past this victimization position. The fact that they have a mindset of as soon as they get to Moorish anything, like this, they start to overload. As soon. What's that? So how do we now interact with those that seem to refuse Moorish history? I.e., do we let them have their beliefs? Do we scimitar them? You know the saying, let sleeping dogs lie? The ones who want to sleep, let them sleep if they want to sleep. Remember what we just said? The ones who want it, they're going to be just like you when you got it. Those are the ones. The ones that are going, the ones that when you bring this up to them, their response to you is like the response you gave to whoever put you on. That's how you know. So that's the ones that you're dealing with. Everybody else that you're dealing with, they're a potential agent. Anybody you're dealing with, if they're not on that frequency that you and them are like this, then you better have your garlic and all that stuff. You better have your stuff. You better have your clove. Keep these stuff away from you. Because you're not, how you look scimitar and a sleeping guy. They're sleeping. You're bludgeoning them with the damn axe, chopping them up. The first thing to say, yo, you were sleeping. Like, what are you doing? Sleeping. So don't scimitar them. Let them sleep. They want to be believers, let them believe. Where you at? You at fruition? If you're at fruition, then you're good. You don't worry about the believers. The believers they're not gonna go anyways. They're not gonna go. They're gonna find every excuse why they can't. Cannot save everyone. Family, best friends, brother, sister, does not matter. That all caps sound like experience. He knows what he's talking about. There was experience in that. You know, that's why we did the one yesterday, because even on that level too, with the believer or whatever. So they're not gonna go with certain things, so then they're gonna start talking about scriptures or whatever, you know. Yeah. And then immediately, as soon as they start talking about scriptures, they're gonna flip it around and they're gonna start talking the metaphysics of the scriptures. And then they're either gonna have the wide eye and be just like you, or overload, and then you never hear from them ever again. You start trying to save people, they hold you in captivity. Yep. And just hold you. Just hold you and suck your life force. Remember, they're not changing. They keep doing the BS. And then you keep going with them. And then they're doing the BS. Then you're thinking that it's a, communal thing. No, they're sucking you. They're a vampire. And they're about to eat you. They're about to eat you. Right? And they take advantage of your kindness and all that. They take full advantage of your kindness. You're just trying to help them out, and you're trying to help them out. Then they hold you, get their fangs in. Yep, get their fangs in you. So don't let them do it. Don't be a victim to those ones. The ones that hold you in captivity because, they're not ready to evolve yet or whatever, but you got to deal with them. Don't suppress yourself. Don't put yourself in captivity for them. Because they can't really do it to you. You're going to do it to yourself for them. You're going to be the one that didn't put on the turtleneck or whatever like that, which is why they got you. Because you're supposed to have the hood on and all that stuff, and you just have your neck open. Of course they're gonna suck. Your neck's open. It's a vampire. What you on from a leech? A leech to say hi, how you doing? No, they're gonna suck you. Mm-hmm. Then you can't. Oh, hold on. Oh, there's two here. So we can't make anyone realize who they really are. How do we protect ourselves from falling back into their mindset, cuddling the relationship we cherish with them? That's like you get love. You think your captors love you. Like you're looking at it as it's a relationship. They're a vampire. They've had their fangs in your neck. Now that's a relationship. If that's a relationship, we got bigger issues. Right? That's not a relationship. You have to accept the reality that they're a vampire. You haven't accepted the reality yet, right? Even though you saw the fangs and all that stuff, you saw the bloodshot eyes and all that, right? You saw the blood dripping from the mouth and all this. You saw all that stuff. You still nah. That's not really them. they're gonna change. They're gonna get better. It's been 500 years waiting for them to get better. 500. They'll change. You have to learn to sever ties. Because everybody's not meant to be in your energy. Everybody's not meant, you trial and error. Trial and error. Some people you accommodate, because based on where they're at for whatever reason, you accommodate them. I know they're messed up and all that stuff, but for some reason they don't bother you like some other messed up people. So you might deal with them. Well, again, that doesn't mean you putting your neck up for them, so they can feed. Yeah, you gotta sever the ties. That's the only way you're really gonna be free. And it doesn't have to be, some severing ties like that. You don't have any conversation with them, but the connection this individual has to you through however the connection came about. Now, when there's violation after violation after violation after violation, that alone should be loosening the ties that they have on you, especially if they're the ones violating. Right? If they're violating and you're seeing the violation, and then you keep going back and you saw the violation 50 times, then you haven't learned how to sever the ties. My mother doesn't have any interest in knowing who she truly is, but she is still my mother. How do I handle that? Just like that. See how you just said, but it's still my mother. So that's where it's at. Everything leading up to telling about nationality and birthrights is where you're going. That's the line. But you're not going to stop being yourself, though, because she doesn't accept that she's a Moor. You're still going to be yourself. You're still going to be who you are. Because everybody has a choice. And many are called, few are chosen. So don't worry about what she's doing. You just make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. And then it's there, honor thy mother and father and all that stuff. Now, if your mom is a chicken head eater and that's a violation of the commandments and all that stuff, then then you might have to not deal with it if you're really sticking to the commandments. But if it ain't nothing like that, that's Mom Dukes, right? And she ain't do anything crazy with you when you were young and you had a great life with her and you love her very much and all that stuff, then Mom could do whatever she want to do. You're even concerned about if she wants to say she's a Moor or not. Whatever. That's Mom's. Right? Just like I said, but she's still my mother. Exactly. Especially if she didn't violate you at all in your life and all that stuff, and you love her and all that. And she's not accepting that she's a Moor. Once she accepts you that you're a Moor, that's what you want. Right? She doesn't have to proclaim it herself. What you really want is her to just accept you as a Moor. And then that'll be her accepting it because she brought you here, and then right? You have to trick them into the stuff. You have to trick them into it because they're not going to go on their own. That's just what it is. They're not going to go on their own. If it's crazy that your mom is waiting for you to come over, and then right then she starts cooking the swine up and all that stuff, knowing that you don't eat it, and doing crazy stuff. You want something to drink, and she's giving you milk, and you don't drink milk and all that stuff, then yeah, you got to get away from that crazy lady. That's not your mom. That lady's crazy. So now that you're grown, now that you're adult, you get the hell away from her. But if you love her and all that, don't let them not accepting or them not proclaiming that they're a Moor mess up your beautiful relationship that you have, right? Because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Because everybody has a choice. You don't have to accept Jack. You don't have to say she's a Moor. Why? Why does she have to do that? Everybody else doesn't have to do that. Same thing with her. You don't have to. Everybody has a choice. Let them live. You lived. You made your choice. Say you're a Moor, right? So if they want to be Negro, then hey, let them be Negro. So in other words, if we're traveling together and she's behind the wheel, when she's pulled over, just be silent and let her get her ticket. Yeah, because she got the plate, she got the whatever. She's not, Now after, then you could say, oh yeah, well you see, this is the and then you could explain. Well, not during the stuff. You're gonna bring up stuff and all that. No. Yeah, because that's not your situation. That's her situation. Let her deal with her situation, how she's going to deal with it. After they deal with their situation, then you could say, hey, have you heard of, or, you ever thought of, Yeah, exactly. She's behind the wheel. And you're behind the wheel, that's a different thing. She's behind you. You want to get A to B and back to A. Yeah. That's all it's about. So doing nothing to impede that. Nothing. Oh, I got a question here. So would I be wrong for questioning the officer in front of her? Yeah, because that's not your situation to be questioning anything. But remember, you still have that right to remain silent. You still have that right, especially if they didn't ask you anything and they're not even looking in your direction. You already know that's the slave patrol. Let them do what they're doing. Let's get this one. Islam, love and peace. I have often heard in earlier lectures videos the master teacher Taj say that there are things we are doing now that we won't be doing later. In your opinion, with the current dismantling of the parents-patry paradox across the nation, would one of the things we are no longer doing include responding to color of law citations, summons, accusations, and whatnot? I mean, that's always been something that you were not doing. You know, like everything has its time. So things that we're not doing, for example, doing things that we're doing now that we won't be doing later. So the things that we're doing that we stop doing is what you're looking at. So the things that we stop doing, I mean, there's nothing really, because everything still applies. No, it was probably supposed to be that if the people were really on what they were supposed to be on from when the things that we're said that we're doing. Like one of the things that you don't see going on right now is lectures. Other than what we're doing, most of the stuff is online now. There's no going to the spot to go sit in front of the master teacher. That's not, that's something that we were doing then, that now that we're later, that stuff's done. No, a lot of Moors say that the things that they implemented that caused that stop was because of the activity of Moors being in each other's presence and how they had to slow that down. That's why they did what they did. Because we've been not responding to color of law citations and summons and whatever. Not because you or when you get them, you're not gonna not deal with them. You're not gonna sweep it under the rug or whatever. You're gonna deal with it, whether you go into the tribunal to go deal with it, whether you send something in the mail, but you're gonna respond to them if they're doing anything. So and they're always going to be doing their color of law. As you see, they're still doing color of law right now. So because they're still at it, we're still at it. But I'm sure that there's other stuff that we were doing back then that right now we're not doing. Things we were doing then, yeah, there's not too much. All that stuff still applies. Everything that we were doing, we should still be doing, because we're trying to make a dent in this thing. Supreme honors to all worldwide. I don't see any more questions in here. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to those that ask their questions. As usual, you gotta answer. If not, just send your question again. We'll try again. But in 90-something of these, there hasn't been any doubters. The majority of people got their answer. Honors to Noble Drew Ali. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Love and peace to all the Moors in the chat, all the Moors worldwide who are going to hear this and receive something. Oh, there's one. Can you give some practical examples of how newly modern Moorish Americans represent that status on a daily basis? Some of the Moors say fez on all the time, always being in habit, always looking Moorish, always looking Moorish, to continue to study. Don't think because you finally got your fez or your turban, you figured out how to wrap it properly, that studying's over. Constant acquiring of information and applying of information. Not just hoarding info. You're learning to apply to your life, to more than likely assist in your life. But the most important thing is knowing. You really want to represent the status daily, know who it is that you are for real. There should be no guessing. You should already know. Oh, he's trying. Oh, she's trying. Oh, you should already know. You see this stuff coming from a mile away when you know who you are. So that you have time to prepare a defense. You're not getting stuff off the fly. You're groomed. You're in this place of knowing. How can you get out of captivity if they're holding your belongings and slave patrol is prowling to take what you have, like your way to travel? Well, this is where it's supposed to be. This is where it's supposed to be. It takes a village. That there's supposed to be whoever in place so that you're not going through that. And again, this is not at the apex of the situation. This is not when we start trying to find solutions. Solutions should have been from the jump, realizing that there's an issue. Like we're saying, putting up the neck in the first place, knowing that they're a vampire. Now, this vampiric energy is all over the place and in everything, and you can't even get it. Now, we're looking at solutions. And it's impossible. It's impossible to have a solution if it's that crazy at this point. Right? This is like people who have court, and then on the day of court they want to call Moors to try and figure out how they're gonna do in court tomorrow. Right, so it shouldn't be at the part of the slave patrol being involved. Because if slave patrol is involved by now, then that means that this stuff has been crazy for a while. And if it's been this crazy for a while, then going back again, that you probably just got to sever the ties. If it's that crazy, then you might want to pick up and just leave. Whether you have to bunk at somebody's house or go to a shelter or whatever to get out of whatever it is that you're in. Because if it's that crazy, At this point, you should have been left. Shouldn't even be in the situation. There's no way out like when it's situations like that. It's way past trying to fix something. Yeah, we're talking about the transmissions on the road, mufflers dragging and all that stuff, and it's talking about, oh, the tank's almost on empty, you gotta go stop to go get something. And a lot of things is people, Joali said, people are hard-headed and stiff-necked, and they only learn at the point of a sword. They only learn at the point of a sword. That's our people. You know, like when it's like that, when it gets to those levels, it's way beyond some control or fixing. The stuff is way too far past messed up. So it's crash and burn, or crash and start over, cut off whatever you have to cut off whoever you have to cut off, and start anew, because obviously this thing has gone past running its course, and it shouldn't even be in this at this point. Shouldn't even be in this. Anything should be better than this. And it's about finding that anything so you can get out of whatever it is that you're in. They know somebody talking on the live is gonna fix stuff like that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Peace and love. Can you elaborate on the role Abraham Lincoln played? Because in my studies, I've come across information stating his appellation was Abraham Lincoln Africanus L. Now, what I do know is that they put him on the penny for a reason. The Africanus, I seen that. I don't know about the L, but I know seen the Africanus, and they had him in the pantaloons with the scimitar and all that. Then they had the other one with him wearing the crown. The case when he was a lawyer, when he defended the Moor. Of course, Emancipation Proclamation and all that, but you know, that's just there's a transfer. But the one that got me was the pantaloons, you know, and researching Lincoln from the perspective of them trying to silence him because of him being brother or something. Some pictures that they have of Abraham Lincoln that, you know, that's not the guy that they show and all the other stuff. You know, like dark Lincoln. There's like 2 pictures or something out there. You know. But other than those, I don't know what you're gonna get. Where you're gonna get. But there's enough out there. There's enough info on them. Definitely. When just so you more should put at least your emails so you could reach out to each other after this is done, because you know how it gets. You never see them more again on a live, so you might as well get each other's contact now so you could be in contact after the live, because this is what is needed. Moors looking out for Moors instead of Negroes looking to Negroes for stuff. You go into Moors. So just make your exchanges. Honors to all. Supreme honors to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Supreme honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honors. Oh yeah, I'll send the info to you, Consuelo. Supreme honors to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Love and peace to all. Islam.